Hi guys. Yeah, I had to work. I had some loads I had to run, and I'm currently waiting to get loaded now. So this one might have to get cut short, and I'll just pick it up again when I come back. But so part 4, okay, my journey and how people were telling me who I am before I even knew who I was. So I grew up kind of just trying to feel my way around the spiritual world, right? And my family was this guy. Hold please. I cannot. Anyway, so back to my family. So they are. Very much in the church, right? And so when I would go to, the country for sometimes and stuff, Easter holidays and things, I would go to church with my great-grandmother. And she is the family member that I always resonated the most with. And there was no, real communication between us verbally. She wasn't very much of a talker. She lived a very hard, traumatic life growing up. And I don't know if he wants to confirm the message or what, but he is doing the most right now. Anyway, my grandma 90, right? My great-grandmother. Sometimes I would go over there, when nobody was there, and just sit with her, and it was a very non-verbal connection that we had, and her energy was very much mystical, because she didn't really talk much, but she was very grounded in her spirituality, and she always wore white, and in my journey now, looking back at her, I feel like she really was like the Babalao of our family, but being that, my family's very Western washed, I don't think they really gave her the credit that she deserved for being that. She was the cornerstone of our family. She was the magic of our family at that time. And even as a kid, I understood that, so I tried to spend as much time with her as I could. And we didn't really speak, but we communicated, right? And so she would show me things that probably wouldn't matter to most. I think most of the family really just kind of didn't really take her seriously, just let her be who she was, and she just over there, But there was a draw I had to her, and so I would go over there just to be with her. And she would show me things like in her Bible and particular trinkets and things, and I didn't understand it then, but she actually was the first one to teach me how to take a spiritual bath, and I didn't know that's what she was doing, but she told me, and I feel like she saw me just as much as I saw her, because I don't know that she was telling anybody else these things, right? And she told me one time when I went over there, she was getting ready to take a bath, and she wanted me to come in the bathroom with her. Well, it was a very small house, and so she left the door open, but she wanted me to come to the doorway and just talk to her while she took her bath. And so I did, but when I say spiritual bath, there were things that she put in her bath, like her bath was very milky white, and it smelled like really clean, like florals, like a meadow, kind of like, but not flowery, just clean. And I don't know what she put in it, because we didn't talk about that, but the way she would cleanse herself, it just, now that I know, the things that I know that was a spiritual bath, and she knew things that she wasn't telling people, right? So she was kind of like my Babalo, but before I even knew what that was, right? So that was the first person that I could say really knew who I was before I did, because she chose to share things with me that I don't think she shared with other people. And so again, on my journey, I would go in and out of the church. I would find churches to become a member of, and just trying to find my place. But there was no church that really felt like home to me, and it was always something there that I didn't resonate with. And so as I grew up, I figured I had to just kind of find my own way. And shout out to my mom for that, for allowing me to find my way, because she never, like she told me when they were growing up, they were forced to go to church. They were Baptist in Kojic, if you know what Kojic is, and church is very much a part of their upbringing, and she had some bad experiences at church. So when I came around, she made sure that she never forced me into spirituality at all. And my father was Catholic, and he did the same thing. He never Hi guys. My ponytails, I got pigtails in today. Anyway, I had to pause the message because they called me for my load, and then I had to work, so I'm back. So back to my message. Okay, I think I left off at my father, right? So he's Catholic, and he never forced me in the church or to partake in the religion or anything either. So shout out to both of them, I guess. But he did teach me little things like sign of the cross and blessings when I leave and that kind of stuff. And she taught me how to say my nightly prayers. If anybody remembers that, now lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep you. She taught me that one first, and as I grew up, I just added on to it. But anyway, so the next person that I feel like really told me who I was before I knew, right? That's the subject of the episode today. I moved to Port Arthur for a job with my cousin. He was an administrative assistant at a nursing home, and so I kind of took his job while he elevated, right? Something like that. And they went to church out there, Triumph Church. Shout out to Triumph Church in Port Arthur. And so when I came out, naturally I joined the church, right? And joined the choir with them, and I liked it. It was a nice church, very friendly people. Right? This one Sunday, they invited a prophetess to lead the congregation, or do her thing and give a message. Okay, I was in my early 20s, no, mid 20s, yeah, mid 20s, and she pointed me out in the crowd, and she came to me and gave me a message about my journey from that point forward and what I was meant to do, what I came here to do. I'm not really gonna give that message here because it's not really important, but just know that I am walking in my purpose now. At the time, I didn't really understand what she was saying. I took her words and applied them to memory, but I wasn't quite sure how that was gonna work out, and I can say that today I understand. So I'm just at the pinnacle point of trying to open it up and walk through the journey that she had given me. All I can say is it involves the next generation of children that come through, and starting them early and really understanding and helping them heal their neglect and trauma through what I've been through in my life. And she didn't say this part, but I feel like past lives apply here too, because y'all know this ain't my first rodeo. And with that being said, a lot of people, you know, they'll call me cold, they'll say X, Y, and Z, but just know that ain't nothing anybody's throwing at me that I haven't seen already, whether it be this lifetime or the next one, okay? So, yeah. Anyway, so that was a good message, and that was her, so that was my second person. And so the third person would be Bridget Sanchez. Shout out to the Sanchez's, okay? Same church. She was a member. She and her family had just moved to town right around the same time that I did, I think. Or maybe she had been there before me, I don't know, but I had been there a minute before I actually met her, and so I assumed that they had just got there. But anyway, this was after the prophetess, and I imagine that she was paying attention to the message that the prophetess was giving me, or maybe she just knew me and saw me. She saw something in me before I did. I don't know. But one day, I think it may have been the same day. If not, it may have been the next week or sometime around that time. She pulled me to the side. No, it had to be after that because she gave me a gift, so she had to have thought about that a little bit. She pulled me to the side after church one day and handed me a beautiful cherry oak box. And inside the box was a strand of 100 genuine pearls, like they were real pearls. And you could tell that whoever spent the money spent a pretty penny on this strand of pearls. And it was, at the time, the best gift that I'd ever been given. And when she gave it to me, she gave me a message too. And I'm paraphrasing because, you know, it was a long time ago. Again, I'm almost 40, so this was like my mid-20s, right? She said that she was giving me this because she wanted me to always remember that that is how God sees me. That I am the pearl in God's eye. It touched me, but not in the way that it would today if she had done the same thing. Like, that message was deep, and of course there were more words to it, but that was the premise of it. She wanted me to always remember how special I was to the divine. She saw me before I even saw myself, and she took me under her wing, and she invited me to her house. They had a beautiful house, a massive, beautiful house, and they had beautiful children. They were older, of course, right around my age, maybe a little bit older, and her son, I believe it was, had a wife. So, beautiful family, anyway. And they invited me, you know, to their prayer circle, and she taught me things. She would talk to me, you know, she taught me how to take care of my hair, you know, just really teaching me how to not only take care of my spirit, but take care of my vessel as well. She's a beautiful person. If you know Bridget Sanchez, then you know, if you know her family and her children, then you know, I think her daughter-in-law and her husband, the son, I believe they had started a nonprofit at the time. I don't know where it is now because I hadn't seen them in a minute, but, you know, shout out to the Sanchez's. You guys were a pinnacle point in my life, and helped me kind of move forward and get started on my spiritual journey. So, if I never said thank you, thank you. About the pearls, though, you notice that I sent them in past tense. Shortly thereafter, when I moved back home, I got hooked up with a very minion of a man, and he had some rambunctious children, and one of the girls took a liking to my jewelry and broke the strand of pearls. So, they were ruined. But, you know, Stephen thinks he can break me, but he keeps trying and failing every time. Anyway, so that was the third person, and the fourth person would have been Reverend Vicky at Resurrection Church. So later on in life, in my early 30s, so this was maybe about 10 years ago or so, actually I was turning 30, I hadn't quite turned 30 yet. I was dating someone, and they were going to this church, a non-denominational church, and of course I joined them. You know, we were dating, so I joined them, and the fact that it was non-denominational really struck me as, okay, maybe this is somewhere I could be, maybe this is somewhere I could fit in, because they practice everything from Catholicism to Christianity to everything. And so I felt, because I've always been drawn to multiple different practices, religions, and cultures, I figured that this might be a place for me. And I felt right at home, you know, for a little while. But Reverend Vicky, she took a liking to me. She was really, really sweet to me. And a year later or so, I got diagnosed with cancer. You guys know my story. And she really didn't know me from Adam or Eve, but I guess she saw my spirit too. I'm not guessing. I know that she saw my spirit too, because she literally picked me out to like she was like a auntie to me, right? And so, you know, when I came out of the hospital, she was there at my mom's house, and she prayed over me, and she talked to me, and she was a pinnacle point in helping me get through the depression of it all. So I believe she's no longer with us anymore, but I pray that she knows that I'm truly grateful for that as well. So shout out to Resurrection Church if you guys are listening. And the last person would be, wow, it's been so long I can't even remember her name. She was a tarot reader, and I just started walking in my journey. I was still with that person that introduced me to Resurrection Church, and she opened my mind to who I truly am. And in that, I understood that that particular relationship wasn't where I was meant to be. And, you know, I left it in a harsh way for reasons other than that, but that was really in my spirit, the pinnacle point to me beginning to exit, right? I wish I could remember her name so I could shout her out, but yeah, she got me started on this journey, and here I am. So yeah, so this episode is listing people that knew me before I even knew myself. And for those who have asked me before, the part that really started me on this discovery was the experience I had on that surgery table in emergency surgery when I got diagnosed with cancer. So I'll put that in the next episode. All right.